After 1.5 years, Poppy Playtime Chapter 3 finally came out. And you know what? It's actually really good. Poppy Playtime Chapter 3 completely turned around the horror game series for me. Chapter 1 and 2, in like the play style, yeah, it was okay, a bit of puzzles, not a whole lot to it though. And like the only exciting bit was the end chase. Don't get me wrong, like the mini games in Chapter 2 were good, but there wasn't much horror to it. There wasn't a lot of horror to it. There was just like, oh, if you mess up, you die. Like, that's boring. In Chapter 3, though, I find it genius how they just completely put you into a different world in parts, just for a good bit of story. And that's something I feel like they've been missing out on for absolute ages. A storyline to everything, because Chapter 1 and 2, there's not a lot of information you get given, and Chapter 3 really gives opportunity for it to stretch out more, just for a few more chapters, really. I really think the way they've styled this chapter is genius. The only issues I think I have with it is that you get a bit lost in some bits of the game, and it's not just me. Don't get me wrong, I did some dumb stuff like not looking up. The puzzles weren't really too tough, but there was a lot of just going back in the puzzles, which, I mean, it is a puzzle, that's the point, but I'm just lazy, I think. But yeah, I thought that the style of the game, the whole explanation around it, the whole information it gives us was spot on. There wasn't really a lot to this chapter which I had to say, but I think it still needed pointing out that they did great with everything on this. The design of this game is absolutely fantastic. Like, at the start where the Smiling Critters have their own TV show to explain to you what catnap's like, to show, there's a lot more life in this game than we think. It's not just Huggy Wuggy Catnap and Mommy Longlegs. It just brings a lot more life into it by introducing this gang of critters, which, from the sounds of it in the games, we won't see a lot more of. But, I reckon there's still some that's alive. But yeah, I think Catnap's design is amazing, and especially when he uses the red mist, and it turns him into this sort of Gorefield like creature where it looks malnourished. It looks like it's this character where it just stares into your soul and it looks like it wants to rip limb by limb from you. I suppose that's what happened to Dog Day, but it's just an amazing character design. As for a prototype, it's not. I don't think we've seen all of it, obviously, we've just seen the hand. But from the look of it, it seems to be collecting all of the characters, so I'm really looking forward to seeing what that'd look like. But Catnap, it's a perfect character just slowly stalking from behind, which you don't really see in any of the Poppy Playtimes. Huggy Wuggy's always just in range and he disappears. You always see a glimpse of him. But Catnap, he was almost invisible for a lot of it, and then you'd see an odd glimpse of him, and especially the shrine part. I didn't see that when I played through, but when I looked at it, it's like crazy how you miss stuff like that, and I think that was really well. The horror was amazing. But in my opinion, they perfected the horror. They used the analog horror style of VHS tapes, and then the jump scare style and actual like horror aspect was perfect. It wasn't overused, none of it was too much. It was just the perfect amount, and it was enough to scare you each time. So I think that was amazing, and especially how they made the game so much darker. That was it was probably the best choice Mob has done with the franchise, making it dark, because I think we're all sick of seeing them thumbnails on YouTube. I know I am. I mean, I've been on TikTok, and obviously since I've been playing the game, I've interacted with quite a lot of TikToks. I've given them a like, maybe a comment if I find it funny. And, we're seeing so much good of the fan base, and it's just so nice to see a thriving community with a lot of wholesome images and a lot of wholesome, well-done artwork. And then there's stuff like that. I mean, it's what you like at the end of the day, but oh, that's not good. Oh, that's really bad. Oh, that's awful. I don't know how old they are, but A lot of people are saying they're kids. Just saying. It's a bit sketchy. But yeah, most of the fan art, it's really wholesome. I think it's really cute. I think, you know, it's really talented. But maybe lay off stuff like that. Maybe use your art skills for something a bit more like this instead of whatever that thing is. I have to search this shit up. Well, no, I don't actually. If you just search up Poppy Playtime, it shows up, which I think is awful. Because I don't think it should be one of the first things to pop up on the fucking Google search when you search up some friendly horror game. And, I mean, it's not a kid's game anymore, clearly. As I said, I have been on TikTok quite a bit. And, I've started to notice FNAF fans have crawled up from the grave. Die-hard FNAF fans who can't accept any other horror game getting attention. Saying stuff like, oh, it's not that scary. I don't even find it scary at all. Look at me with my big boy pants. First off, no one cares. Oh, well, you're so cool for not finding a game scary. Okay, calm down. You're not cool. Then they just go out and say, oh, the smiling critters. Come on, that's Freddy Fazbear. That's Chica. That's Foxy. You know, you can see the resemblance. One of them's purple. Come on, they're basically stealing it from us. No. Can other horrors not have mascots? Is that what Five Nights at Freddy's fans think? I mean, look at Chuck E. Cheese. Everyone was calling that a rip-off, but no one cared. I mean, there's a big difference between FNAF and Chuck E. Cheese, don't get me wrong. But there's similarities, just like there's similarities. I'm doing that in abbreviations. Similarities in Poppy Playtime and FNAF. But to say it's a clone, get a grip. Like, come on. Let's have a look at FNAF Security Breach and have a look at Poppy Playtime Chapter 3. Poppy Playtime's way scarier. It's a way better game. Don't get me wrong. FNAF is forever probably the best horror game of all time. The best franchise. I wouldn't say best horror of all time, but it's definitely the best franchise. But to be comparing stupid stuff like that is annoying. Like, they're comparing FNAF VHS tapes, which are fan-made, by the way. They're comparing that to the Hour of Joy. The Hour of Joy is completely used to just, you know, teach us some of the lore, give us a bit of a backstory. There was never a jump scare, there was never a odd minute of silence on it. To be comparing a fan-made animation meant to fucking scare people to the Hour of Joy, it's just a bit... It's a pointless argument. And at the end of the day, they really just need to enjoy both games. We don't get horrors a lot. Well, we do get horrors like that, but they're awful. They're terrible. You don't get to enjoy them. So when a good horror game comes out, enjoy it. Stop arguing over which one's better. Because if you do that, you're not going to enjoy Poppy Playtime, and you're just going to have awful horrors. You're not going to have any experience on it. And in my opinion, if FNAF fans are worried about Poppy Playtime, doesn't that just mean it's a good game? If you're that concerned about Poppy Playtime not being better, it must be pretty good if you're really debating with it. Because you don't see FNAF fans arguing with, like, Garten of Banban fans, because we know which one's way better. But if people are really debating over Poppy Playtime and FNAF, there must be something going on there. Obviously, the game must be good if we're especially having to throw in fan-made stuff and having to have arguments. It must be good. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, stop arguing, shake hands, and don't play shit like this. Play shit like that. I think we can all agree on that one. But yeah, I cannot wait for Chapter 4. I'm really hoping it just stays in the same style of Chapter 3. It would be amazing to see more of the smiling critters, because I want more detail on it. Hopefully, they just take their time with it and they perfect the game like they did with Chapter 3. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you later.
SMILE every day!